Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to your favorite moment on YouTube during the week. We're going to go over week 2 of our December series, which is Christmas, celebrating Jesus, God's greatest gift. This week, we're looking at the story of Elizabeth and Zachariah, as well as Mary. You guys know the story, so I won't tell you all about it. But the bottom line is this: anything is possible with God. Zachariah and Elizabeth were way too old to have kids, but God gave them John the Baptist. Mary had never been with someone, so it was impossible for her to become pregnant. But God made things happen because He had a plan, and nothing stops God's plan for us. He always has a plan, and nothing is impossible for God. And so God brought His promise into fruition, overcoming the impossible situations. And many times we ourselves and our kids, we face what we feel like are impossible situations, and sometimes they are impossible situations. But through the Christmas story, we are reminded every single year that nothing is impossible for God. So this is the bottom line of the lesson. This is the point that you're going to be making every activity during Sunday. So that's the story. Debbie will be preaching because my wife and I will not be here. We will be out of town celebrating our 22nd or 23rd anniversary, and so I won't be here. But I know you guys will be able to do just fine. You guys probably won't even miss me. It might even go a little better than it usually does. But Debbie's going to be teaching, and the only announcement I have is, as a small group leader, what we're doing on Sundays with Erica, assigning many of the middle schoolers a placement on one of the areas where the Legos or the games or the outside area. That doesn't really apply to you specifically. As a small group leader, your job is to show up and get your room, your environment ready to go for small groups. And after that, then you can do what you want. But let's not forget one of the main reasons we have free time. It's so that we as leaders can interact with our kids on a little less informal way. Just chatting with them and talking to them specifically and personally about something that happened in their life or what last week was like for them. Because sometimes it's hard to do that in the group setting because now we're managing the group. But free time gives us the opportunity to just sit one-on-one, say, hey, how are you doing? And prove to them that we're glad they're there. Prove to them that we care about what they care about, and we know what is important to them. And so, as a small group leader, feel free to just go to your rooms, prep your rooms, get your rooms ready, but if you have a chance, find some ways to interact with kids in your small group during free time. So, with all that, we're going to jump right into small group activities. Now, the first activity for kindergarten first is prayer. So, however you've been doing that, do that again. And then move into the second activity, which is called Act It Out. And this is going to be a fun activity where the kids get to act out today's story. And so you're going to assign each of one of them roles. Someone's going to be Mary, someone's going to be Elizabeth, someone's going to be Zachariah. And all the roles are written out in the binder. There's going to be an angel involved. There's going to be priests involved, and friends and relatives of Elizabeth and Zachariah. Now, we don't have the ability to give props out. Again, we tried, but Amazon shipped them somewhere else. We do not have the props we had hoped for, so we are not going to use props, and props might have been a little bit more distracting anyway. So spend some time assigning each person a role, reminding them of the story, because this is a Bible story review activity. So as you're assigning roles, you're reminding them, hey, this is what Mary did. This is what happened to Zachariah. This is what the people in the temple were doing. So after you've assigned everybody a role, you're going to tell them, I'm going to read portions from today's story. And as I say your character's name, you simply begin acting out what I'm saying in the story. And so you'll have them all standing up in a row, and then the story points activity page is in your binder, and it's bullet points. There's quite a few of them, and so what you'll do is you'll just begin reading the story from this page, and you'll say the character's name, and then after you say the name, give that kid a chance to remember, oh, that's my name, that's my character, and have them come forward, and then they do what they think is applicable for what you say. Like, for instance, the first one says, Zachariah was a priest, and he was married to Elizabeth. You might not get much acting out of that, but it gets better. So just keep moving. Don't encourage them to try to do something different or act out something else. Just keep going with the story. Because again, the whole point is a Bible story review, and the kids will figure it out 3 or 4 lines later. Okay? And then, so you wrap that up with just the What You Say segment, and just read through that. Obviously, I have not read through it yet, but I'm sure it's good. So, lead small. It's there for you. Now, the next activity is called the Impossible Helicopter, and it's an application activity. So we're taking the idea that nothing's impossible for God, that God can do anything He wants, and we're going to create an impossible helicopter. I was hoping to have one in the room to show you, but there will be an example in your boxes on Sunday. And unfortunately, this requires kids to do their own cutting and their own folding, and it needs to be somewhat accurate in order to overcome the impossibility of this activity. And so be prepared to walk your kids through it. This is a great activity to end your small group with, because this could easily go right up until parents show up. And if you have any helpers in your room, be very specific and have them helping, folding and cutting and guiding the kids in how to do this. And so you'll walk them slowly through the bullet points in your binder of how to do it. And I suggest you take a look at it and lead small ahead of time and try to make one at home. And then when you get here, it'll be a whole lot easier to do it. And then after most everybody has theirs done, begin talking to them about what is impossible to fly. Have them name some things that are impossible to fly, like a horse or a pig or a rock. And as they've come up with some of those things that is impossible for them to fly, have them name their helicopter one of those things. Have them write it on their helicopter, a horse or a rock. And then after they've done that, have them all stand up, take their helicopter and place it above their heads and let it drop. And hopefully it will begin spinning and floating, flying, gliding down to the ground. And then you get to say, isn't that amazing? You guys made what you thought was impossible to fly, because anything is possible with God. And so it's a real fun activity, but it does take some preparation on your part and some patience on your part and some delegation of help in your room to get this one done. But the kids will love it when it works. So good luck with that. And just wrap it up with talking about how the whole process, many of them felt like this is never going to work. This is impossible. But after they just stuck with it and they kept following directions, kept following instructions, that eventually it turned into something that might actually work. And then you wrap it up with reminding what the bottom line is, that anything is possible with God. When they face situations in life that feel impossible, that they should turn to God, the one who can do the impossible. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much. See you Sunday.